Let's go ahead and move on to the next step, which is setting up our cron run. Go ahead and open the fifth step, hook cron for the Trails module. Go ahead and copy the entire code, and then paste it into your trails.module file, overwriting everything again. And save it. Okay. Now this file is identical to our previous file, except for one thing. We now have some code in the hook cron function. Let's go ahead and jump back up to our hook init function and take a close look at this again. Now every time a page loads, we go and add a new item to this trail array. So after somebody has visited 100 or 1,000 pages, that array will continue to grow. And one thing about the variables table is that every item in that table gets loaded on every page load. So if we have a huge data set inside of a variable, that can consume a lot of resources. So it makes sense, if we're going to use a variable for data storage, that we regularly prune that back so it only has a limited number in it. So let's go ahead and go down to cron. A cron run is the perfect time to perform this type of pruning. So let's go ahead and take a look at the way we're implementing this. The first step is to grab the trail array, and we're going to do that with variable get again. Our next step is to find out just how big our array is, and then find out where we want to cut that array off. So for this example, we're just saving the last 5 items and cutting out everything else. And there's a nice PHP function that will allow us to do that called array slice. But in order for array slice to work, we need to find out where the cutoff point is. So because we don't know how big our array is, we need to find that out by counting how many items are in the array and then subtracting the amount that we want to save. Our next step is to create a new array that's just that last part. So we're taking array slice, that PHP function, we're passing it the full array as the trail variable, and then we're passing it the key where we're going to cut that array off, and we'll return whatever items exist from that point to the end of the array. So this short trail variable now contains the last 5 items in our array. And the final step then is to save our variable. So just like we did in hook init, we're going to go ahead and use variable set and save it to the trails history variable. If we want to see this in action, let's go ahead and make sure that our module file is saved, and then let's visit a few pages and create a bigger array. Just make sure to go to more than 5 pages. Now if you want, you can take a look in your database, refresh your database, and pull up this item. Now we have quite a few items here. You can tell just how many by looking at this first number here, which is an A and a colon and a number. So we have 17 items here. So when we run the cron, it should narrow this down to 5. Let's go ahead and run it by going to Reports, Status Report, and clicking the Run Cron Manually link. Okay, now let's reload our database table. And you see here, we now have A6, which says we have 6 items, which makes sense because we pruned it down to 5. But then after cron was run, it reloaded the page, which added a new item to our history. So now we have a fully functioning mechanism for saving visited pages and pruning them back when that amount gets too big. So now the next step is to create an interface that actually makes that data useful. And we're going to do that by implementing a block. Blocks take a few steps in order to implement. The first is passing Drupal an array that contains basic information about the block, such as the title that it's supposed to display on the block management page.